Was it the voice? Was it the fire burning in me? All of the noise turned into choirs of harmony. Left me with the pieces of forever that you broke. But since you left me alone, I've been high.
Hello friends, welcome back to the channel, or if you are new here, welcome. My house is in need of a quick reset before we start the new week. This is something that I have been doing since we've been back to school, and I feel like it really sets everything off on the right foot starting the week. Nothing feels better than starting off a brand new week with a clean house. So today we're going to be doing exactly that. So get your music on, listen to a podcast, get yourself an iced coffee, and let's get to this reset. Like most days, I am starting with my bed. I do often rotate when I'm doing everybody's bedding. So one day I will do ours, the next day I will do someone else's bedding. I usually will do the two youngest boys on the same day because theirs is smaller, they just have twin beds. But I like to rotate through our bedding when it's being washed. Today is not my day to wash my bedding, so we're not going to be doing that. But I do like to make my bed every day. For the longest time, I was not able to make my bed because my husband worked nights. So that is something that I always really enjoy having done now. I always like making my bed. I'm also not going to go into any deep cleaning today. This is just to get our house back at ground zero to start out fresh. I put on that quilt on my bed because our dog Ted will not stay off of our furniture as much as I have tried to keep him off. So I tried to limit the amount of dog fur on our actual comforter, and by putting this quilt on top of it. So that is why I did that. I started doing that a little while ago and it has helped tremendously. I've talked in other videos about how one thing that I have started doing recently is over the weekend, I like to have one of these reset days where I go around, I spend a couple of hours, usually about 2-ish hours, to go through the whole house and give it a good clean. I like to mop. I like to get everything nice and ready for our busy week ahead. And then throughout the week, I like to break down my cleaning each day. So one day I will do all the bathrooms, and then I will do wiping down the counter, stuff like loading the dishwasher, stuff like that is an everyday thing, but the bathrooms aren't. So I like doing this daily cleaning rotation throughout the week, and it helps keep my house looking pretty presentable most of the week through. I get a lot of comments both on here and in person about how I'm able to actually get my house to kind of pretty much stay clean. It really does not get very out of order, and a lot of people seem to notice that. I think a lot of that has to do with, one, the cleaning schedule that I do on the weekends. I like to do a deeper clean, and then during the week I am just maintaining all of the areas of the house through the daily schedule that I do. But also I think a huge portion that helps is having everybody help me and keeping everybody accountable in that. So my husband, he does a lot of stuff around the house as well when he gets home or on weekends. He is always pitching in and helping. And I think a huge thing is also teaching my kids at an extremely young age to also be very helpful. For them to be mindful of the things that they're pulling out and the messes that they're creating, and then also thinking about others and cleaning up that mess that they created without leaving it for someone else. So I mean, we're all human, it all happens. And I think when you teach kids at such a young age and you keep reinforcing and having that routine, they follow along and really stick to that. They grow up with it. It becomes, just a normal thing for them. So I think that is a huge help. You often see me doing all the vacuuming and mopping and sweeping and all that stuff because this is my channel. However, I do make sure that I am teaching my kids how to do all this stuff. So my kids are all at the age where they can switch over the laundry. They all vacuum their own rooms. On weekends, a lot of times my older two will help out and they will vacuum the house. I do most of the mopping, and my husband sometimes will volunteer, but I think that's a thing that we all mutually agree on, that we hate mopping. So usually I'm just like, oh, okay, I'll mop. But yeah, I definitely do the whole all hands on deck thing, and that helps out tremendously, keeping the house neat and tidy throughout the entire week. One of my weekend chores is to do a mopping of all the main areas to get it nice and clean for the week ahead. So that is why I am vacuuming pretty much everywhere, because I plan on mopping. So I'm getting into all the little nooks and crannies that I might have skipped over throughout the week, and I'm getting to them now before I mop. I also like to take my corded vacuum and do all of the rugs and carpet on the weekend. However, I am not showing that in this video. I didn't end up doing that. But I do feel like it makes a huge difference to go over it with a corded vacuum if you have one, and kind of going slower in different direction. It helps get out everything in the carpet fibers, and then throughout the week then just using the stick vacuum to do a quicker vacuum. That is something that has really maintained our rugs throughout the years. While I'm over in the dining room area, that kind of reminds me, I get a lot of comments in person about the white rug that we have under our table. It is a indoor-outdoor rug, and that was like the best decision I ever made when buying stuff for the house, because it is under our dining room table. So yes, there is food and crafts and all stuff from homeschool, and just everything falls onto this rug. However, because it's indoor outdoor, I can easily take it outside and pressure wash it, and it dries so super quick. It is the easiest rug to clean, and it's like a really light gray. It's not like a white, but it stays that way because it's so easy to maintain. So I highly suggest, if you're looking at rugs for under a dining room table and you are worried about all the debris and stuff that falls on it, I highly suggest doing an indoor outdoor rug.
Because there are so many things that I left unsaid.
I was recently influenced by another YouTuber to use Orange Glow, and so I've been doing that, and I absolutely love how it smells. You have to make sure that you don't use too much, but I love it's like it adds a nice citrusy scent, and those are the scents that I love cleaning with. So I've really enjoyed cleaning with the Orange Glow. And if you have been on my channel, you know that I'm constantly influenced by other people. I definitely give in to peer pressure, and especially with cleaning products. Our house has a bunch of different shelves and knickknacks, so I usually find myself over the weekend dusting, so that is what I'm doing, kind of giving everything a quick go over, getting all the dust picked up. A lot of times, I don't know if it's like pet dander and stuff, and that's why it seems like the house gets very dusty, but our house does seem to get very dusty. I think it also has to do with like the darker wood colors and stuff like that, so it just shows a lot easier, and I'm always dusting, always dusting. However, I do a bigger dusting on the weekend.
Lately I've been
Did you recognize my mushrooms that I did? Was it earlier this week or last week? I can't even remember. It might have been, it was last week. But I did the little mushrooms out of the orange peels. That is probably my favorite DIY project that I have done in a long time. They turned out so cute, and I'm actually in the process of drying some more so my kids can make some for themselves. But it was such a fun project. And it's really inspired me to do so many more projects. So I'm actually really excited about starting another new project that I have planned. And can we just take a moment to talk about my windows? I know that I have probably talked your ear off about my windows and my doors and how my kids will not stop touching them. And the dog, he like rubs his nose all over it. Is it just my kids? Please let me know. But I don't know what it is. So I washed these front windows, and I did the kitchen as well. But I washed them, and it wasn't even like that afternoon, and my kids had already put like full on handprints on the windows, and multiple. And I'm just like, who is touching the windows? And Lincoln's like, oh, it's me. And I'm just like, why are we touching the windows? I don't know what I'm going crazy with this whole windows thing. I said last time that I was just about there where I was gonna give up until like my kids are maybe grown and just not do windows, because it is such a problem. I'm like I said, I'm going crazy over this. Is this a thing for everybody else? Do I just need to lose all hope of ever having clean windows while my kids are still young? Please let me know if you have any advice on this down below in the comment section. No, but in all seriousness, it's really not that serious of a thing. I just find it almost comical that like they're like magnets. As soon as I wash the windows, it like draws them to it. They're just magnetics to the windows. I don't know what it is. There's like a huge green light like, "Oh, mom just cleaned the windows. Let's all go touch them." Do you see our pumpkins over there on the stairs? I'm curious if people are putting them out yet, if you've bought pumpkins. So a couple of things. We have actually been really, really hot here lately. It was cooler, and now the temperatures are back into like the 90s and 100s. It's supposed to cool down here, I think, next week. But that was one reason why I was keeping them in. I didn't know how well they would do in the heat. And then also, what are we doing for the squirrels? Because I know that the second I put these out on the porch, those squirrels are going to have a feast. I have tried in the past. I don't remember the exact mixture, but I know it had like some type of pepper or something in it, and that was supposed to deter them. However, it did not work. So if you have any remedies, or are you putting your pumpkins out? Do you leave them in for a little bit? What do you do with your pumpkins this time of year? I finished up in the other areas, so now I'm moving on to the kitchen, and I just want to kind of tidy it up, wipe everything down, and then I'm going to vacuum and mop it, and then I'll also go back in and mop the other areas. I'm curious if anyone is really into like football, or do you guys do anything for football on Sundays? So my husband is really, really sportsy. He was in a bunch of sports growing up. He was also in sports as an adult. We live on a golf course, and he goes golfing. He's always been a very sporty guy. He does a ton of like online, what are they called? The fantasy sports. He does a bunch of that kind of stuff. He is just, full blown into a ton of different sports. And I don't care as much. I'm mostly like, oh, I like to make the football snacks, is what I call it. And I love having people over for that. So We, a lot of times during the fall, will actually have people over on Sunday, and that's kind of why I was getting the house also back in order. I wanted it to get nice and tidy for the week ahead, but also we are having some people over. We like to kind of do a potluck style thing on Sunday afternoons where, maybe we'll do, the theme is chili, and we'll have, a lot of times we'll do like two different chilies. So like I'll make one, and then we'll have someone else make one, and we just have them in crock pots, and someone will bring cornbread, and it's just, all the toppings, or however that works. So we often will do stuff like that on Sundays, and I love it because I love the cooler weather. I love getting together and enjoying good food with great people. So that is something that we usually do every Sunday, and yet another reason why I'm going around and tidying up the house. I went ahead, I woke up super early so I could get as much done as I needed to or wanted to before I was having a bunch of little hands trying to help me or following me around and needing some things. So I got up extra early in order to get everything done before everybody came over this afternoon. But do you also do stuff like that? Do you guys do anything on Sunday? Are you really into football? Are you just there like me for the snacks? As you see, I have Lincoln. He walked in and he spotted the camera, which is funny because usually he does not shy from the camera. My younger two boys, they usually are, the stars of the show, and my older two will shy from the camera. If I hear them coming, I often will be like, hey, I'm recording. If you want to be on the camera, I have it going. And either they'll make the decision to come into the room or not. Or they've kind of learned to see the camera and then make that decision themselves. So anyway, however, my younger boys aren't usually like that. Usually they are like, oh, the camera's up. Hello. Hi. How are you? So it was interesting to see Lincoln kind of step in and see the camera and be like, oh, okay, and then step back. So I find that odd though, because he is not really shy whatsoever, and he has been saying for probably the last year since I've been doing YouTube, he's been like, oh, I want to have my own YouTube channel, and he has all these ideas of, he loves comic books and video games, and he doesn't really play a lot of video games. We monitor it and only give him a certain amount, but he wants to kind of do that kind of stuff on YouTube. And then, like I said, he likes comics and he likes making books and stuff like that. And so he's wanting to share that stuff on YouTube. And he's only 8, so that is not going to happen. But he has definitely, in the meantime, been coming up with all these ideas that he's wanting to do. So I don't know what that was about, him kind of shying away. Because he usually doesn't, and he's usually a very outgoing kid, but that was just kind of interesting. Anyway, I am moving on to the dreaded laundry. It's the floors and the laundry. I dread them, but they all have to be done. And I have, however, recently, so to minimize my laundry mountains that I go through, I have, and if you've noticed, they haven't been like mountains recently. I've been keeping up. Super exciting. So one thing I do to prevent the mountains from forming is, one, I put the laundry in a place where I am forced to do it. So either I will put it on my bed and then I'm forced to deal with it and put it away, or the couch has been my recent thing because now I'm watching TV and doing laundry and it makes it more tolerable, but I put it in a place where I am forced to deal with it. Another thing that I did recently was I went through my clothes and my kids' clothes and I decluttered so much of it. And so when I say I decluttered, I went through, and my boys, they have enough pajamas. I think we did 7 or 8 pairs each. So they have an entire week of pajamas. And so I'm literally forced to every week do their pajamas because they'll need it for the next week. I went through their shirts and their pants and just everything to make sure that we don't have an abundance of things and then creating just more work for ourselves. That is one thing why decluttering is so important, because I always say the more stuff you have, the more stuff you have to take care of.
Crowded places, feel it sinking in. Lonely faces, say you need a friend. No matter the distance, I will always be there. No more inhibition, I'll show you again. You've been lost and alone in the city of lights, I know. Getting high, feeling low, and it's out of your control. You should know that I won't leave you. I'll stay beside you. I'm never letting you go. You've been lost and alone in the city of lights, I know. But I will guide you home.
That little water kettle, I think is what it's called, is such a lifesaver. I'm so happy with how much I've actually used that. I got it for free. I had my cousin, she never used it, and she was like, "Do you want this?" And so I have been using it nonstop. I love heating up the water for mopping. I also, if you have any gnats, we get a bunch of gnats because I have a ton of plants inside, and then also it is very hot down here, so we tend to get gnats a couple times a year, and to help combat that, I will use this boiling kettle and fill it with water and then pour it down the drains each night, and that totally wipes out like all the gnats. After a couple days, I want to say like a whole week, if you do that, you like have no gnats. I heard that they lay eggs in the drains, and so when you're when you're pouring the boiling water down your drains, it kills the eggs and like gets rid of them. So I do that, and it helps with that. I love the mopping aspect. Also, we've used it for like our drains, if they are not draining as well as they should, you could also use that to pour it down. It helps clear out the gunk that's in your drains and maybe like building up and causing slower drainage. So absolutely, if there was one thing I could recommend other than the dining room rug being indoor and outdoor, it would be one of those hot water kettle things. I don't even know what they're called, but it has been so great with so many different aspects of cleaning. I know I've mentioned it before, but I often will do all of this mopping on the weekends, and I make sure I get everywhere, even the bathrooms, literally just everywhere, our bedrooms, over the weekend. And then throughout the week, I like to use one of those spray mops to kind of keep up, and I do that on a daily, sometimes twice a day. Which we have 4 kids, we have pets. It is something that I feel like kind of needs to be done, especially in the kitchen. Maybe not everywhere, like the living room and stuff, but in the kitchen in particular, I think that during the week, it needs more than just the one mopping on weekends. So to keep up with that, I have been using the spray mop, and it has been so nice, and I feel like it really it keeps up. It does well, and I don't need any like extra mopping during the week. Before I had that spray mop, I was doing the spin mop a couple times a week, and That's probably why I hate mopping so much, because it is so much to keep up with. And I do need to just invest in one of those wet dry vacuums. Is that what they're? Yeah, wet dry vacuums. Um, I have not bit the bullet. I've done a lot of research, and I guess I'm just trying at this point to figure out which one I'm wanting to test out. And so if you have one of those, let me know, because that is a purchase that I'm wanting to make, but they're so expensive and I want it to work. I want it to be good. So if you have any that you can suggest, please let me know down below so I can look into that. But we are wrapping up today's video. I'm curious if you also cleaned while I was cleaning, or did you just relax and sit down on the couch and watch? I always love to know if these videos are motivating, because I also use these videos to motivate myself. I am constantly watching other people on YouTube for my own motivation, so I hope that I am bringing that motivation also to you. But I do know that sometimes it is nice just to sit down and relax and watch other people, and then usually after, that gives me enough motivation to get up afterwards and do all the cleaning I need to do. But anyway, this is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
You've been lost and alone in the city lights, I know. Getting hot, feeling low, and it's out of your control. You should know that I want